Hi and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. Today I thought I'd share how I decorated our home for Easter. Nothing too fancy, just some simple touches that make the space a little more festive. Starting in the dining room, I hung this cute egg garland I found at Dollar Tree. The Easter print is something I grabbed from Temu last year, and the modern wood bunnies are a recent find from TJ Maxx. Although none of this is sponsored, I'll link whatever I can throughout the video in the description below in case you're interested. When it comes to decorating mantles, I know it could be a little bit tricky, and I actually made a whole video about it. Their link is above if you want to watch that later. It's just a few easy tips that helped me and surprisingly became one of my most watched YouTube videos. I like to keep my dining room table decoration simple and movable because our table gets a lot of use. So for this centerpiece, I borrowed a dough bowl from the kitchen and then I filled it with some forest moss I found at Hobby Lobby. I stole these cute little vintage bunnies from my daughter's room and they were very happy to share. And to finish it off, I added tiny speckled eggs I also picked up. Everything's on sale right now at Hobby Lobby. These are just super simple and sweet and just add a nice spring touch. The next few items I styled around the dining room were thrifted, except these cute raffia carrots. They're still on sale at Walmart and they come in a couple different sizes. So when it comes to decorating for Easter, how many bunnies are too many bunnies? I should actually keep track of how many I've collected. Maybe we can turn this into a game. If you stay to the end, I'll count and then we'll see if you have the same bunny count as me. So I wanted to show a sample of what an easy but elegant place setting might look like. Layers are the thing that make a place setting impressive. I have a table runner, placemat, a charger, and then my wedding china. And then I picked up these adorable bunny napkin rings, which just make it so easy so you don't have to do any complicated folds. Add a custom place card, and now you have a simple but elevated place setting that your guests will love. These custom name place cards add such a special touch, and you can make them in just a few minutes using Canva's free tools. On the homepage, I searched name place cards and came up with this one, customized the text, and I even swapped out the image for a watercolor. I feel like Canva's just super easy to use, and there's so many options that are free. If you see the little crown, that's the ones that you have to pay for. But there's plenty of free options, and I feel like this is just a sweet, budget-friendly way to make your guests feel extra welcome. There's nothing like the scent of an Easter lily to bring me right back to my childhood, watching them bloom and waiting for the Easter bunny to come. To make them last longer, you can remove the yellow part inside called anthers. This helps extend their life and prevents staying on your surfaces too when they drop. Another way to make your lily last a little bit longer is to repot them. Those plastic containers make them get dried out, and so this way you can straighten them and just make them look a little bit nicer as well. Even though it's been chilly, the kids were begging us to set the trampoline up. It's great because even though it's muddy, they can still soak up a little bit of sunshine. If you're enjoying this so far, feel free to give it a like, and I would love it if you'd subscribe and join my YouTube family. I like to share home and garden updates as well as simple tips for creating a beautiful space on a budget. Thank you so much for being here. As you can see right now, so many of my spring flowers are at their peak, and I wanted to bring a bit of that indoors, so I found these realistic tulips, and I thought they'd look lovely on my coffee table. I added this muslin bunny towel for a soft pop of seasonal color. I tend to prefer muted tones over bright, bold colors. They blend seamlessly into the rest of my home and give everything a little more of an elevated look. Finding neutral seasonal decor can be a bit of a challenge, but with patience, I feel like the end result is well worth the extra effort. For my living room mantle, I wanted to keep things really simple, so I just swapped out my willow stems for cherry blossoms. Then I added this sign to serve as the main focal point when you first walk in, because this is the true cause of celebration for this season. This little guy is one of my favorites, and whenever I have people over, he always gets a compliment. And I love this marble and brass bunny. He's so cute. I feel like he's earned a permanent spot on the bookshelf year-round. I found this cute little propagation tube set from Dollar General, and I filled it with these mini tulips from Michael's. I love how fresh and unique it looks. I also keep this small bunny bowl filled with Easter lollipops for the kids. Tiny seasonal traditions like these are such a fun way to build anticipation for the holiday. And I didn't forget about the outside. I like to keep the front porch updated for the season too. Last fall, I found these artificial boxwoods on sale, so I grabbed them with spring in mind, and now it's so fun to finally grab them and bring them out and swap out the winter greenery. I feel like they look surprisingly realistic, and I was really happy with them. I already had the pots and lanterns, so this came together really quickly. I've never had artificial flowers on the front porch before, but these tulips looked so lifelike and adds just the right amount of spring freshness to the entryway, so I was really happy with it. This bunny garden statue is from our local Mark store, and then the other one I had from a previous year. And I feel like when you add a little extra textiles to the outdoor space, it just makes everything look a little more cozy and inviting. I thrifted this egg wreath and thought it could use a little something extra, so I added a simple ribbon, which makes a big difference. As a bonus, I thought I'd show you how I make a really easy double loop bow. First, you want to eyeball the size of the bow you want for the first loop, then you cut it and glue the ends together in the middle. Then you want to do the same with the second one and make it just slightly smaller than the bigger loop. Then you're going to want to cut a piece of floral wire, and then you'll want to wire the two together, scrunching it in the middle. Fluff it out, and then you're going to want to cut a piece to hang as the tail. Just kind of judge how long you want that to be. Since this ribbon frays easily, I went ahead and glued the ends under just to keep them nice and neat. For the centerpiece, I want to make it a little bit thinner, so I glued it together. And then instead of gluing it together on the back, I went ahead and tied it because I just want to make sure it can stand against the strong spring winds that we have. I also wanted to hang it with a ribbon too, just to add a little bit more color, so I got the right length. I wired it together and then just hid the wire. And then I just wired the bow onto it, and then you're all set. I was so happy with the way this turned out that I decided to go ahead and do it on the front door too with a lemon wreath that I have, and I used a black and white striped ribbon, and I feel like it just makes so much more of a statement. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Let me know in the comments below which decor piece was your favorite, and as promised, here is the final bunny count. Did you guess the right number? If so, congratulations, you've earned an official virtual high five. Thanks again for being here. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out some of my other ones, like this one where we renovated our bathroom in just 30 days. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye!